Welcome to Inebriated Analysis, Episode 3, the AA meeting you do want to be at. My name is Farid, and today I'm joined by...
Chris.
Peter.
And Rafal.
So guys, today I'm enjoying a nice little Cider Boys Peach Country. It's a apple peach hard cider. What are you drinking today, Chris?
So, I've been gone for a week, so I feel like it's perfectly okay if I have another Freedom of Speech by Revolution Brewing.
That's all right. I would have done the same thing, except I got crap for drinking the same thing 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, see, technically, it's not 2 weeks in a row for me.
What about you, Pete? What are you drinking?
Same thing. I'm drinking this can with a eagle claw gripping a peach. Freedom of speech.
And special guest Rafal. What's breaking your sobriety for today?
This is from Distill Brewery, Wild Sour Series, Lindbrook.
Interesting.
Ooh,
I had
God.
my own beer, but I forgot it. So we're going with this. And
Perfectly
this actually
okay.
sounds just as good.
He actually he brought it.
Yeah,
I brought it.
It's definitely that.
Yeah, honestly, I'm curious to hear what you think about it.
We'll
Rate it
make
like
that
those
the first
beer
test.
advocate ratings that you see on the internet where they say like a bunch of huge words and then end it with like pour.
Smell this.
I might have that next.
I got an extra.
Yeah, that's good.
I also messed up and realized that this is my glass, so I've got to chug this real quick. And while I do that, Chris, you've brought the taste test of the week today. Why don't you describe it and give me a little bit of time?
Yeah, so you know what? This is a brewery based out of Niles, Illinois, that is called Unane. Tried to go too quick there.
Wrong pipe.
Yeah. Yeah, so the brewery is called Unane. They used to share a space with Hubbard's Cave, but recently they actually just got their own little place, still in Niles. Yeah.
Hubbard's Cave is a separate brewery.
I was about to say, I have no idea what either of those are.
Yeah, but so yeah, brewery Unane. It's a French thing. I'm making great time here for you.
You're good.
Yeah,
So
and
what's the beer called?
it's called Paige. It is a peach sour.
Oh, I like peach.
Yeah, it's very good. It's only 6.5% alcohol too, so it's not gonna
we're
break
having
the bank.
I'm having two peach beers today.
Same.
Yes, you are. We're all. Oh, actually,
Oh my God.
that's not peach.
That's not peach.
Nope. So most of us are.
I might as well have Bobcha come in here and make some peach pot cobbler.
Yeah. But you know what? Peaches are good. I could have brought a strawberry, but I don't like the strawberry as much. So
Yeah, I learned that last week.
yeah.
And that's why I'm not drinking the pineapple apple.
Oh, that was awful. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it wasn't that good. This peach one, however, really good. So I'm glad I bought the variety pack.
And the nice thing is, I'll let you pour your own because you're
Oh,
an
God.
animal. These cans are actually 12 ounces, or 16 ounces instead of like the normal 12. So we got a little extra.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, pour as much as you want. We're good.
Well, I got my raspberries to drink. But don't worry, I will.
I'm going to give you a lot more of this because
Yeah, that's fine.
I've got a feeling I'm not going to like
I figured-
sours.
You poured that like a freaking animal.
I sent you the video.
There we go.
Watch it.
This is the perfect pour. Please watch.
This smells awful.
That looks awful.
All right, I just walked my dog before this, and she took a dump, and this smells really close to what that was.
I promise you, even if it smells bad, it's pretty good. Okay, wait. Actually, before you drink it, time out. What smells worse, the taste test from the first one or the taste like this one?
The first one I think smelled good. It tastes awful.
The pecan one?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it.
What?
Yeah, the smell. It's
disgusting.
I enjoyed. It's too
just
close
get it
to
out.
my dog's feces.
It is pretty sour. I will
Oh God, sour.
I will put that out there. I should have
Is
warned.
this just this tastes like a jar of lemons? If I had to,
Oh my God,
this is a jar of lemons.
it is.
I love this beer.
Where's the peach?
This is peach too.
It's supposed to be
That's
peach.
It's
Wow.
lemons. I totally get just like
Lemons.
a fresh cup of lemons in here.
Yeah, Chris, buzz off in your new money taste palette.
I love it. I do. I really do.
Hey, can't knock it. Everyone
Yeah.
has their own taste.
Luscious Overambiguous pour.
Do you want to speak out of the glass?
That was a beautiful pour. I don't know what you're talking about.
With a hint of fecal matter that complements the peach.
It's so sour.
I like it, but I like sour beers.
Yeah, what do you think, Rafal? Your face says it all.
It's all right.
If I had to describe it in like, it's like sometimes you take like say like a bunch of what do you call those, warheads?
Yeah,
The
sour
really-
warheads.
And you just like dumped them in some like lemon soda.
Yeah.
You just let it ferment in there.
You
Accurate.
know that stuff can actually make you bleed if you have too many of them.
Really?
Yeah, there was a dude named Matt Stoney who's a competitive eater.
Oh, I know Matt Stoney.
Ah.
And he ate
that
like
guy.
100 of them, and you could see like from the tartness, his mouth just dried up and it cracked, so he was bleeding from his tongue. It's brutal.
Wow.
That's actually crazy.
Speaking of brutal things, how was everyone's week? Anyone have any interesting stories they'd like to bring up?
Yeah, so I can start. So Dino and I were out last week, and Dino is out this week. That is because we had a possible COVID contact. I'll wait for him to get on next week so we can go through it. But I got tested Monday. Everything was good, and I've been dying to get back to work.
We forgot to cheers. I totally forgot.
Oh God! But no, it's not as much of an effect.
I feel so bad.
Yeah,
Let's just
but
fucking
we need to do it for the
Let's- yeah,
thumbnail.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Cheers.
Oh, mine will be red because I drink mine
That's
too
fine.
fast.
All right, and there's my thumbnail. Anyone else have any weekend stories they want to bring in? Or week stories, I should say?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think right
Sure,
now.
you want to think about it a little harder?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't know why. I mean, I just had work, same as usual, right? I'll tell you. And the one thing is I woke up. Oh yeah, actually yesterday, I woke up super early because I was studying for what I usually have is like a weekly quiz for my class. And I'm like, usually me and some of my classmates like to study before the quiz. And I'm texting my classmates. No one's texting me back. This never happened. I'm having a minor breakdown. And I find out there's no quiz this week.
Nice.
And I was like, that's awesome. And I just want to end this overpriced career path I have in college.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Computer science.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm going to sit there on a mechanical keyboard and just type code all day.
and a Razer mouse. Don't forget about
Razer
that.
mouse.
Yep.
You got the Razer headphones too with the little cat ears?
Yeah.
I like those. I like those a lot.
So what about you, Rafal? Any interesting stories from the week?
Honestly, my week wasn't that interesting, but I will tell you an interesting dream I had.
Oh.
It was I had a dream. I got a sweet tattoo of Boba Fett fighting Luke Skywalker, going from right here, right at the start of my eye. That's where his lightsaber was, going straight down, all the way down my neck, down my shoulder, down my back, and then Boba Fett was my whole arm.
I was gonna say, dude, you don't even have a sleeve yet, and you're already talking about face tats.
Well, it's go big or go home.
That sounds awesome. I wonder if that sleeve will ever, did it look amazing in your dream?
It looks super sweet, and it was to the point where everybody would be like, "Just take your shirt off, dude." And I'm like, "No, Mom, I'm in church," which was even weird. Right? It kind of there was a lot of shift in locations, but at the end, I woke up and I was like, "Dang."
Do you think it will look as good in real life now that you've seen in that dream?
I think it would look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd bring the lightsaber a little higher, right on the forehead.
Oh, so
I
you
wouldn't
see
start
your-
with the teardrop. I'd just go forehead.
How can you remember that? I can barely remember a
dude.
dream. I don't know how you remember.
I
it so
remember
vividly.
nothing out of my dreams.
No.
I'm really bad at remembering the people in my dreams, but the concepts, that I always remember well. My second dream, I had two dreams, less exciting. I was in a garden and I was eating snap peas.
Ooh.
That's it. It was just the snap peas were so good. That's it.
Snap peas
That's
are
a
good.
really wholesome dream.
It was, and it reminded me of my childhood because I used to go eat snap peas in my grandma's garden.
God, I can't have something cool nice like that. I always just get as nightmares.
Yeah, I close my eyes and I see Freddy Krueger, so...
Yeah.
Speaking of childhood memories,
Okay.
I've got a pretty good one that goes back to, summer, 20-ish years ago? No, 15
Oh
years?
God, we're not that old. Don't tell people that.
15 years ago, something like that?
yeah.
So
So,
that'd make you 5.
so back in the day, I had someone who would come watch me in the summers while my mom was at work. and Rafal's parents were also at work. So they would drop him off in the morning, and we would just hang out at my house. And one eventful morning, I don't know what started us bickering, but we started fighting over something. And I threatened to go run across the street to the neighbor's house who's supposed to be watching us. So he comes running after me to stop me from doing it. I see that he's coming, so I immediately turn back around and go to the house. And as I'm there, I go to shut the sliding door on him. What I didn't realize is my finger was right there in the sliding door. And then I proceeded to slam my finger in the sliding door, and the first thing Rafal did is he took me upstairs to make sure no one could hear me screaming.
Oh, you were yelling for a minute. You were crying. I wasn't gonna say the crying part.
No, I was definitely crying.
You were crying.
You got to get on an episode of that, like, what's that old MTV show about people getting hurt while skateboarding? Scarred?
Oh,
Has ever watched that?
No.
It's like, had the singer from, like, Papa Roach was, like, the host.
That's weird.
I do now remember why we started fighting. It's because in the morning I went outside to go grab my bathing suit from the backyard, and Rafal locked me out. I was in my underwear, just sitting there, and he felt bad, so he opened up the door, threw an ice cream at me, and he was like, "Here, eat."
That's
Damn, I'm the worst.
Yeah,
What happened?
It was good though.
What kind of ice cream cone was it?
I don't remember. I think it was like a fudge bar.
That's not bad. That's being pretty courteous.
was
Like
a
if he really hated you, he would have given you like those like signatures to like popsicles from like Walmart.
No, he would have just given me ice from the side of the fridge. Like, here you go. But another point, when you said, did that tattoo in your dream look better now? If there's anyone that could bring a tattoo to life, it's going to be Rafal. Our special guest here, Rafal, is the graphic designer who did create our logo, and he does have a couple of other hobbies.
Well, you didn't tell me that. I was just your friend.
Yeah, he's my friend who does graphic design.
Oh, hi.
God.
He actually just found me on the street.
Yeah.
I was like, get in here, buddy. It's time.
So what other hobbies do you have there?
Well, I have a couple of interesting hobbies, I guess. I have too many hobbies, honestly. That's my biggest problem. I like everything, but my two biggest hobbies are probably right now, I've been doing a lot of resin casting, which is using resin to make shit stuff. Sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, you can swear.
No,
Go
no, you're
ahead.
fine.
Oh, I thought you...
Oh, yeah, no, you're good.
to make shit. So one of my big stuff right now is keycaps, and I'm trying to get better at it, but doing dice. I actually brought them to show, I guess, to show off. And
Yes.
I got you guys some swag too. If you want. So these are just stickers, just from the shop that I have. Shameless
awesome.
plug, same one on my shirt.
Nice.
You wanna plug the name for the people listening on the audio podcast?
B-Bot Studio.
Yes.
You wanna
And we highly recommend you check it out.
Yes. So I'm just gonna dump
Yeah, go
them.
ahead.
Wow. Just some of the shit I've made.
So I have seen a lot of these dice actually already. And
Yeah, keycaps is my big one.
yeah,
So
the dice
these are
look
part of the
fantastic.
Oni series. This one's not 100% done yet.
Oh, these look so cool, and they fit really well. I'm assuming they're cherry. Yeah, they're for cherry.
Yeah, they're
switches.
cherries. Cherry MX.
You want to pass me one there, buddy boy?
Oops.
So you guys want to describe what you're looking at instead of just saying?
It's
Yeah,
almost
so-
like is it Oni demon? Is that what they are from Japan?
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, so the one I'm holding has like red skin with two horns. It even has like some pimples on the face, which are really awesome.
Those are warts.
Warts, pimples, same shit. Right? Same shit, right?
Similar, but
yeah.
well, I actually stopped. Small detail. I stopped painting in because I thought they looked like pimples. So I was like, let's not paint those white anymore. It looks kind of. But regardless, so that's been.
The blue one looks really cool though.
Yeah, no, they both look really.
So
amazing.
they're part of like it started as a brothers series, like a blue and a red kind of. It's a lot of Japanese folklores. There's two demons that like guard certain castles or like bridges and stuff, and I just kind of want to bring that to life. Learn 3D modeling, and because I like to draw, I like to illustrate. That's been a big hobby of mine for years, and I decided, hey, let's try 3D. Let's bring something to life. Brought a 3D printer. Learn some 3D software, and that's what I've been going with. The other stuff there is so if you've played D&D, those are the gelatinous cubes miniatures that I'm working on. They're keycaps and miniatures. So that one is that one's still a work in progress, but That one is
Really
a
cool.
cube miniature with floating bones inside.
That's
Yeah.
honestly amazing.
Yeah.
That it can
Really
be used
cool.
as both a miniature and.
I had a little base that I brought
Oh yeah.
that would you put it on the base and then you can use it as an actual. Oh, there it is right here. Little base that came
Oh,
with
this
it.
dice though.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and then there's a gelatinous cube dice. So the dice they're not perfect, unfortunately. So I'm not comfortable selling yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues with casting resin.
They're hot dice.
hot
You want them to roll a 13? We'll roll a 13.
Oh, well, that's the other issue is you put anything inside, they'll never roll perfect.
Yeah.
You know, unless you make it out of the same material. So that's just one of the hobbies that I like to do. I wanted to show it off to you guys. Yeah, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
I mean, just going from like, me personally, right, I wish I was something as cool as this because this is creating something where, looks amazing. And I'm assuming, you just got to practice more and you get way much better at it, right, too.
Yep.
And that's the only way to do it. And I definitely consider it much of a very, it's a very fulfilling hobby,
Yeah.
to see your works of art like be used and all that stuff as well. Like, I think especially gelatinous dice, I like it a lot. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I no, seriously, it's cool.
I'm curious, like, what got you started? Like, what made you want to do it?
So how this all started is my fiance bought me a mechanical keyboard, and I was like, oh man, these are sick. They like go clickety clacky. They're fun. I mean, and then you can interchange the keys out. So I started looking up online, like, hey, what kind of key sets could you make? And I saw some, and I'm like, man, these are all right, but what if I want to make something for myself? I see these custom ones going around. There's certain websites that you could buy from. Most of them are like from Etsy, or that's where I sell those. And I was like, let's try and make my own. So I was like, I've been talking about for years trying to buy a 3D printer.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the opportunity. I'm going to do it. So I invested, some money into it, bought a 3D printer. Like I said, learned the program, messed up probably a couple dozen times.
All right.
Probably threw away a bunch of money, but
That's how you learn, though.
Bound to happen.
that's got it has to happen.
Yeah.
And then started from there and started 3D printing my own stuff, paint it, sand it, and then and that's where we are now. So
It's really cool stuff. I mean, as far as is the Oni head used? First, you make it into a 3D model size. I'm curious, like, how hard is it to get it to model after like a keycap?
well,
I think you print it, right? You
correct,
actually like print the cap. That's what it looks like.
correct. So
Oh, so the
there's-
cap's printed with it.
The cap is printed with it.
Okay.
So there's two kinds of ways to cast. Though there's the 3D printer way, which those Onis are. They're so very precise, so I want to keep them the way I want them to preserve as much detail as possible. That one is just a 3D printed file. It prints out. You sand it, you get it nice and ready, get it finished, paint it, and it's good.
Yeah.
What I'm doing for the resin cubes is it started off as a 3D printed file, but then I made a silicone mold of it.
Okay.
Once you make a silicone mold of it, then you fill it with an epoxy resin, which can be clear, and you see all the other colors. There's clear, blue, anything I want really. So there's really two ways to do it. Those are the two ways that I've been experimenting with the most.
Yeah. I think my favorite is definitely the blue one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Red one's probably my favorite. I think it looks really, really good.
Do you have a mechanical keyboard?
I do. I have a 60%.
Do you want it?
What does that even mean?
Take it.
It's not the full size mechanical keyboard. It's all squished down.
It's all yours, man. Don't worry. I'll make more.
Thank you so much. Shout out. I mean, this is really cool. No, guys, seriously, I would
take it. No worries, brother.
definitely. It's going to definitely go on my escape key.
That's that's one of the things is like they're a little more for fun. They look cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use them as like if you're gonna start
Make your
like,
facade.
Could you imagine?
like a J, you're gonna have a little bit of a rough time.
Oh, could you imagine just a full like
Just make your space
fully,
bar.
like just like spikes everywhere? Oh man.
That's half of what mine looks like right now. Just because I'm bored and I always just switch them out and I'm like, but you shouldn't. If you get a message from me, it's just mostly gibberish.
No,
So-
and I was actually talking because my buddy from work decided he's going to build his own mechanical keyboard because that's a thing now, and he's looking at the pricing, right? He says, well, mechanical keyboards is can be a very expensive hobby sometimes.
Oh yes, it can.
Definitely.
And I don't know, but he's like, I don't know how profitable it can be. Especially because especially the switches. I mean, I remember 2-3 years ago, it always seemed like cherries were the top of the line, premium knives. Now there's tons of them, different ones, like Cali switches.
There's Browns.
No. So yeah, I mean, there's Cali Browns, but different companies other than Cherry MX that make these switches.
Yeah.
And some people are now getting to the point where they put either O-rings to dampen a lot of the sound and stuff. It's getting super technical. I could not believe it. It's a huge community.
It's a huge community.
Yeah.
And that's
Got
what's great.
keyboards
And
on.
I'm actually very new to it. So even that, I'm actually the mechanical keyboard side of it. It's new and it's fun to learn about.
Right.
I'm still kind of I'm green in that zone, but the making of the caps, that I'm that's the fun part.
There's some beautiful made mechanical gears. I'm like, wow, that's literally a piece of art. Who would have known?
They're sick.
Oh, yeah.
The cables are the big ones too. Have you seen any of the cables where they have the
coil?
Yeah, you coil them.
Yeah,
they're ridiculous. And it's like, do you do it for any other reason besides that it looks cool?
Absolutely not.
No, none. There's none. You could get the same thing with a $3 Walmart cable. But listen, you're spending,
The premium.
sometimes 8, 10, 15 hours in front of your computer. I mean,
Yeah.
treat yourself, right?
Well, see, I have a 60% mechanical keyboard now, and there's the one thing I hate. I love the keyboard stuff. I think I love having a 60% keyboard. It's tiny. It feels like I have a lot more room on the desk, but it takes a certain connector. Like newer mechanical keyboards take Type C, which is great because everything uses Type C. This keyboard takes mini USB.
Ooh.
So the same thing that you use for a GPS.
Okay.
Which, you know how hard that is to find? Because
really
who the
weird.
hell uses GPSs anymore?
Who uses that?
Yeah, to describe the port, it's like, you know how normal UPS or USB is like that rectangle? This one has those indents, and it's the small one.
I think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of old phones used to do that.
It's like a bigger micro USB.
Yeah, it's
I have seen them.
terrible,
They
though.
have the little clippies too, right? On the sides, or is that
Yes.
different?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of them do,
Okay,
yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah.
Who decided that?
I'm like, I was so angry. I'm like, wow, I can't get a nice cable.
Speaking of nice things, today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're wanting to support us in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to reach out to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Anebriated Analysis. We've got a couple different tier levels that may fancy your whistle.
Yeah, you know what? You sign up for Patreon, we'll give you a shout out at one of those, right?
Yeah, that's on one of our tiers.
Yeah,
I think that's the, not Michelob, but the...
We named them all after shitty beers, by the way. So
not all of them.
most of them.
Most of them.
Which is the not shitty beer?
Stella,
Is it Stella?
I think so.
Oh,
God, I
that's
should probably know
that's
this.
awful.
Yeah, we should all probably know this.
Wait, can I see your Patreon
We have
members?
0 subscribers, so you know what? Go ahead and
Hey,
be our
that's okay.
first.
Be the first one. You can suggest a beer for me to drink.
Yeah.
I'm more curious. Just I want to know Keystone.
Yeah, so we've got the
Yeah.
Keystone, Michelob, Coors, Budweiser, and Stella tier.
Yeah.
Dude, you make Stella $50. That's great. Why Stella?
Because
That's what I thought. I thought it was gonna be like a nice craft beer, but it's gonna be
No, because we don't. No, we're talking about beers that people know about, Peter.
Stella is
Yeah,
the
you're right.
premium
Yeah, you're right. You're
of
right.
the well-distributed beers, in my opinion.
Isn't Miller Lite the champagne of beers? Shouldn't that be the 50?
Maybe that'll be the 100 one day.
Hey, who knows? Speaking of Miller Lite, shout out to Miller Lite for providing this amazing bucket that we have. They totally didn't provide it, and we didn't
Provided.
steal it from a bar.
Or not?
We've sourced everything legally.
To be fair, I'm not the one who stole it. Someone who worked at the bar did.
Exactly. We've sourced everything legally. Where they got their stuff from, who knows?
So another one of Rafal's hobbies, I shouldn't even call it a hobby. You're an amateur MMA fighter.
2 fights.
Yeah,
And-
which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should make this a little interesting. Tomorrow, on Saturday, July 11th,
Oh, God.
UFC 251 is coming up. And I'd love to hear everyone's predictions on it. But before we get
The picks.
yours, I want to get... Both Peter and Chris are not MMA fans. They don't know anything about UFC. So I'm just going to read off some names.
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to read off the names here?
I'm a nerd, right? I build computers. This is all foreign to me. I know Joe Rogan. That is it. And Chuck Liddell. Those are the 2 people I know.
I think
I know a
that's
little
two
bit of like UFC, like it's Undertaker versus who?
Yeah, that's it.
Like John Cena.
That would have been that will be if they actually went at it, that'd be great. Maybe
would be great.
Undertaker 10, 15 years ago, but
You could literally die on stage and they would fit the character. Actually, you wouldn't be acting. Oh, sorry, it's planned entertainment.
I guess I'll just name off. So let's do just the main card, just because for funsies. So let's name off these two fighters, and you can just based on sound tell me which one you think will win.
And we have to go at the same time because we're gonna disagree with each other if we don't. So,
are you gonna write these down or just that?
I'm gonna keep track of it in post.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then next week we'll talk about that real briefly.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
See who had the closest guesses. Are we gonna do round as well and how they won, or are we just picking a winner?
That's way too technical.
Yeah. I think just let's
all right, for them we'll just do winners.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't even know how many rounds there are in a fight.
3 or 5 depending on.
So the first one is the women's first one on the main card is a women's flyweight fight, and it's between Amanda Ribas and Paige Vanzant.
And before we get to that, flyweight, what's the weight limit on flyweight?
Oh, it's gonna sound bad. I don't know women's.
I don't either.
I believe it's
Sounds like 95.
No. It's I believe it's 115.
And what were those two names again?
So Amanda Ribas and Paige Vanzant.
Okay. I know who I'm going to pick. Do you know who you're going to pick?
Well, can you tell me the names one more time?
Sure.
God, it's like
Amanda
you're not
Ribas and Paige Vanzant. So it was 115
All
pounds.
right,
So
so
No, 125 is the
I'm sorry. Yeah, one.
Paige Vanzant.
straw weight's 115.
So he's going with Paige.
I'm trying to think because Paige Vanzant sounds like a WWE diva name. So I think I'm going to pick Paige.
I'm going with Amanda solely because her last name sounds a lot like Reebok, and it's a shoe company. So she must use a lot of shoes.
It's also the company that sponsors the UFC for
There we
literally
go.
everything.
See? Boom. There we go.
They do.
Yeah.
Damn,
So-
you looked this up beforehand. I knew you're cheating, dude. Bullshit.
So the next fight is going to be a women's straw weight fight between Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas.
Rose,
Rose.
because she sounds.
Yeah. Why? Because why?
It's gonna be like an anime fight.
God.
Like she's gonna do the punches where she does like 5 of them, but you see the lines, and then you gotta wait a second, and she's gonna the other person's gonna start bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll punch out.
That's pretty
She'll be
accurate.
standing at just regular pose, and then you'll see her just boop, and then back to regular pose, and the other person will be on the ground.
100%.
That's pretty accurate to
Yeah.
how she fights. She just punches and then just
It's
like
like
kind of like
JoJo's.
JoJo's, right?
Yeah.
where he just
Well, let me tell you.
So next fight is going to be the men's bantamweight at Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo.
Aldo. 100% Aldo.
I'm gonna go with Pete on this one.
I was gonna say if you don't go for your namesake.
All right. Next one's going to be that was a title bout. So that's one title bout.
Oh,
There's
who had the
3 on
title
this
before,
card.
actually?
So the title was vacant
Oh.
because the guy retired. His name was Henry Cejudo.
Okay.
He retired.
Triple C.
Triple C. He was
No, I
also, if I don't tell you, he'll tell you at least 50 times. He was a Olympian gold medalist.
Oh, wow.
He's
Oh,
also-
That's crazy.
I know Triple H. I'm not
Pretty close.
quite sure who this Triple C is.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It's also cough medicine that if you take a lot of, you get real high. But we don't do that
Is
anymore.
that his special move? Just gets the other guy really
I guess he puts him to sleep. That's close enough, right? So then we have the featherweight co-main event, another title fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway.
Ooh,
Alex-
Now these
Alexander.
two have fought before.
Max Holloway.
Okay,
Alexander. How do you say his last name?
Volkanovski.
That sounds
He's
so
Russian as fuck.
freaking Russian.
Yeah.
Isn't he
He's
Australian?
New Zealand.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say same
He's
thing,
a
but it's
Kiwi.
definitely not.
Kiwi. And then the main event card, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal.
And before you make your pick, just know this: Jorge Masvidal just got put onto this fight because the original contender tested positive for COVID. Jorge has had 1 week to train for this fight, but he did make weight.
6 days.
6 days?
On 6 days now.
How much weight
Yikes.
did I gain or lost did he?
Probably
It's
about.
always a
He said
loss.
20. So
He lost. You're telling me
He
he
said
lost 20
we
pounds
lost
in
20
a week?
pounds in a week?
20 pounds in a week. That's
You-
not that unheard of.
That's crazy.
That's not
Do
healthy.
you just not eat?
There's a little bit more to it, which I would love to explain to you. But it's a lot of not eating. So you guys can make your pick. So Kamaru Usman versus Jorge
Usman.
Masvidal.
Yeah, definitely Usman.
Tomorrow.
Wow, look at you going against your people.
Because yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
dude.
So for the
What's wrong with Jose? Why can't he win?
for everyone, I am
It's Jorge.
half Puerto Rican. So, but yeah, no. If he had 6 days to train, there's no way in hell he's ready.
To be fair, he does hold the official belt of baddest motherfucker.
Yeah,
It's a legitimate belt. He won that from Nate Diaz. You know Nate Diaz, the guy
I
who
do
choked
know
out
Nate
Conor
Diaz.
McGregor.
Yeah,
And then flicked everyone off.
yeah, I do know Nate Diaz.
Given to him by The Rock. That's
It was
not
actually-
important.
Wait, it was given to him by The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson came
Wow.
on the octagon for some reason. There wasn't much of an explanation. Everybody was like, "We didn't want this, but I guess we don't hate it."
Honestly,
Like,
that is a pretty cool idea, though.
Yeah.
Just give it to one person, and then I guess how would it transfer though?
They had a fight for it.
Really?
Well, him and Nate Diaz fought for the belt.
Yeah, they fought for like a. So it's not like a championship belt. It's kind of like a
Participation
kind of a,
award.
Yeah, it's like a.
I don't know. That still kind of feels like a champion belt that can roam between weight classes, which is pretty cool.
There's also a guy with the nicest mofo belt as well.
Oh God!
And it's actually mofo because he's nice.
He's a nice guy. He's a stud. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson
Yeah.
has a sweet YouTube. Hopefully he sees this.
Yeah, you.
So, Rafal, what about you? What do you think?
So this card is stacked.
Yeah.
It seems like it. 3 title fights seems unheard of, actually.
Yep.
If you can imagine the last major pay-per-view, UFC 250, garbage. The headline of that was Amanda Nunes, and her fight was just 5 rounds of just obliteration. It was sad to watch.
Yeah.
She beat on her pretty good. What was her name? I'm blanking out on.
Was it Jessica I?
No, that was blanking out on her name right now.
I should find it.
I like her too. She's a very
Was it
nice
Spencer?
lady.
Yes, Felicia Spencer. Yeah, she got murdered for 5 rounds. Like, was it Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier on the announce table who were literally telling her to throw her? They're asking her corner to turn to throw the towel in the 4th.
Yikes.
Yeah,
That's never good.
Yeah.
So what I want to talk about is actually how the last card, Bisping and Cruz were both. Did you watch it at all?
No.
Well, I guess
Was that the one with Mike Perry?
Yes,
You know, Mike Perry got arrested.
he did for knocking out an old man.
Yikes. Oh,
Wait.
Wait, I saw that video.
Wait. Just so you're telling me
A professional fighter
a professional fighter.
who the word professional I think is loosely used
Loose.
with Mike Perry.
So
Hey, shout out to Perry.
a claimed professional fighter knocked out a senior citizen.
Yes.
Yeah, at a bar while drunk.
Yes.
He was
Wow.
inebriated.
Yeah, I think the old man was telling him to like get out or some shit, and then Perry came back and
Dude.
like punched him in the face.
What a badass!
The
He
old
has
man
the
or him?
balls. no, I'm just kidding.
The old man's got some balls.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand, if you don't even know who Mike Perry is, he's telling a dude with face tattoos something.
Yep.
And that's always a bad
Listen here, Sonny. I need you to get out of my bar right now.
It wasn't even his bar, I don't think.
Yeah.
The old dude.
The only thing I could say about Perry is that, well, on his behalf, from the video, it looked, and it's from other people said, that he kind of charged at him, the old man.
An old man charged a professional fighter.
So, I mean, is that on his, yes, he should have acted professionally. Yes, he shouldn't be punching anybody, right? But if some guy's charging at you,
You get the 2-piece.
yeah, you get he got a 1-piece and he went to sleep, but
Well, plus he's drunk, right? So he reverts back to that like fight or flight mode.
yep.
Mike Perry also has a pretty bad criminal record.
Does he?
Burglary, I believe, is what he was charged with.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
burglary
follow
much.
people's criminal records like you do.
Yeah.
It was kind of made relevant in the news because of the incident. Yeah, what were you saying about DC and Dominic Cruz on the, what was it, Fight Night something?
So on the last card, you could hear Cruz and Bisping basically like yelling out for different fighters to, like, they're like, oh, he's got to stand up, put his knee up, and he's gonna be able to escape this. And like you could see fighters like do it, and it was like, dang, these guys are coaching these guys while they're fighting. I'm like, is that fair? Like, is that reasonable? Like, I'm just curious what people feel about that.
That's what happened with you can pop in front of the mic.
Yeah,
I
it can be on
actually
the
enjoy
mic,
that
don't worry.
sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
What
only
was
do
her
stuff
name?
on the table if you want to like pass drugs or something.
What was Cookie Monster's actual name?
Sid?
No, the Cookie Monster in the UFC.
Dang,
I can't
why did I
remember
know
her
that?
name.
I feel
She's
like
a professional wrestler. Esparza.
I feel like that's okay though, to get like coached.
Oh,
Because like it happens in wrestling.
But it's totally different because the thing is, the UFC right now is behind closed doors. They have no audience, and typically the audience would drown out the commentators. And I want to say her name is. What am I even saying? Cookie
I guess
Monster UFC.
Yeah,
What's her name?
you're right. Carla Esparza.
Carla Esparza.
Yeah,
She
that's it.
said in her post-fight interview that she heard Daniel Cormier, an announcer who's also a professional fighter.
Yeah.
He was saying like this is what she needs to do. She heard him say that. She then did it. She won the fight.
Yeah. I don't know, because as an announcer, right, if you're not being like, oh, I think the person should be doing this, then what do you actually like just, oh, this person got hit in the face. Oh my God. It's
Right.
like,
But normally an announcer has like 10 to 15,000 people
Yeah.
behind him screaming.
yeah, I think the UFC could probably do it a little better and not have the announcer like actually casting over the fight, like
I
live
think it's
streamers and
great.
shit.
I think it's great.
If it's a problem, I don't personally think it's a problem.
Hey, take
There are
the
coaches
advice.
in wrestling, you know.
They don't have to listen, right?
Right.
So just because
Yeah.
they hear, I'm more curious. What would you think, or you guys think about it? As in, coaching is, there's definitely coaches in your corner.
Yeah.
So your coaches will be yelling things at you all the time.
Exactly.
But what the announcers, right? The announcers are usually much louder. So I don't want to say much louder. They're screaming, but a lot of times you could hear them a little bit more clearly because you know what they sound like. So you'll be
Yeah.
like, so if you know what this guy sounds like, and he's saying, oh, he's got to tuck his shoulder in, and then he's going to be able to roll straight through.
Yeah.
Well, is that an unfair advantage? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, I don't think so because the announcer could be wrong.
They
He
could
can be giving you bad info.
For the most part, I mean, if you've got Daniel Cormier, who's is he an Olympic gold wrestler?
Silver.
Silver.
Yeah.
Olympic wrestler.
He's
And
got pretty good advice.
Joe Rogan, who
Joe Rogan's not a fighter though.
he used to be though, didn't he?
Not professionally.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan fought professionally.
I don't know.
I thought so.
Was he
fought
good?
A bunch of kickboxing fights. I don't know.
Oh,
if he's a professional.
okay.
He also a black belt.
I was thinking MMA.
Yeah. No, I know he definitely does like MMA and stuff, like martial arts, I guess.
But yeah,
Not
Daniel
MMA.
Cormier is also a double champ. He's
Wow.
won the championship in 2 different weight divisions. So
Yeah, I guess
he's good for advice.
as long as he does it from like a like neutral perspective,
From a
like
commentator's perspective.
yeah, just like, oh, this person needs to do this to get out of this, and it's not just always like, oh, okay, person A needs to do this to win. Then I don't see a problem with it, even with no crowd drowning him out.
I'm going to be fairly honest. I've never really critiqued it a single time, guys. Honestly, whenever I have watched a UFC fight, it's when I took my uncle from Poland to the bar, because that's the first thing he did when he landed here. He's like, Peter, let's you fight here? And I took him to the bar, and he's like watching. He doesn't even understand the announcer probably because
He doesn't need to.
English.
Yeah.
I kind of just get tuned out a little bit. I mean, as far as my opinion goes on it. So, did you say that guy who is the announcer is really experienced? He's a 2-time champion.
Yeah.
One of the announcers.
One of the announcers.
Actually, most of the announcers are now
Now they're-
former
most of them are fighters,
MMA
yeah.
fighters.
I guess I would rather be at someone like that than like a guy who has like a good voice.
Right, but the question is, is it fair that they take the approach in which the commentator is there in front of the cage commentating, or like in the way football does it? American football, they have the commentators up in a booth and they're commentating over what they see on a
Oh,
screen.
I think it should definitely be in a booth. It's kind of distracting to have him just do it right in front.
You see, and that's what.
I don't think so. I think it's fine either way. I don't think that there's any unfair advantage.
So before we get too far, your picks for the fights?
Oh, just for fun, I think Rebus.
Oh,
I think Rose is going to take it.
wait.
So far, 2 for 2 though.
Rebus won what round and how?
Oh, sub,
Getting
probably
technical.
second round.
Okay.
Rose will probably win it by, I'm guessing, decision.
Really?
Wow.
That's my take.
And is that a 3 or a 5 rounder?
So all of them besides title fights are usually 3.
Okay.
Or the main event.
Yeah, the main event is
So
always
all those will be
5.
3.
Yeah. So then these past ones will be
5 rounds.
5 rounders. So I think Aldo is going to win.
Oh.
He's looked awesome.
What's the
He's
last
moving-
name? I remember by last
Oh,
name.
Jose
Jose
Aldo.
Aldo?
Yeah, Aldo's
Okay,
his
so I
last.
didn't
He's,
pick that one.
he's coming off of a loss, though.
He is coming off of a loss. A lot of people said he won. He's an ex-champ, so he's
Yeah.
He was a big champ, and before this, he was up a weight class.
Okay.
And he was a champ for a long time, like a very dominant champ for a long time. Basically, till Connor Connor knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then, but then even then, he went on a pretty good streak. Got his title back, lost it to Max Holloway, who's also fighting tonight. Lost to Prokhanov Ski, and now he went down to another weight class, and this is for the title, which is crazy to come off a loss and fight for the title. But
Oh yeah.
I feel like a loss will make him want it more too. So he probably trained harder than he would have.
I think so. But I'm going for Aldo. Round. Oh man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say fourth round TKO.
TKO.
Wow.
Okay.
So then we have Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. I'm gonna go with Alex. He's been looking real good.
Dang.
I think he'll just win it by decision. 5-round decision.
That was the guy you picked.
I know. No, I pick Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said Alex.
Oh, I did. I think
Yeah.
said Matt.
God.
There is no Matt.
There's
All right.
Max. Max.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so I'm going with him, Alexander Volkanovski. And then the main event, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. Definitely going Masvidal.
Really?
Definitely
Really?
going. Bet the house on.
He has a
Masvidal.
cooler name.
Bet the house on Masvidal. I'm
Really?
telling you. Yep.
Wow.
I'm telling you, he's gonna.
He
he's gonna
had
go-
6 days to train.
He had 6 days. He took the fight on 6 days' notice.
Okay.
They were
He's
in
definitely like still training before that, but yeah.
Possibly. So what? Do you want to explain what happened and how he lost the title fight?
Well, it was like a negotiation tactic. So they were kind of scheduled to fight. So presuming he was already training, he was already preparing for the
Okay.
fight.
Go on. I'll
Yeah.
ask the question after.
So they were training. They were getting ready to fight. They were going to, and then he basically just kind of asked for too much money, and the UFC was like, "Well, we'll go with someone else. Sorry, dude." And they went with someone else, Gilbert Burns, and he was the one who
Got
tested
sick.
positive for COVID. So UFC's like, "Okay, buddy, come on, you got it." And basically, it seems like Jorge kind of had him by the balls. He's like, "Well."
I mean, what are they going to do? It's the main event, 6 days.
Yeah. So he took the fight on 6 days' notice. I'm assuming he was already somewhat prepared for it, and that's why he was pretty confident and picked it. But yeah, man, bet the house on Jorge.
Who else do you think they could have thrown in place of Jorge had they had not met on the negotiating table?
Maybe Colby. Maybe a rematch with
think?
Colby. Yeah, They could have.
You don't think that was too dominant of a win? I mean, Kamaru Usman broke the dude's jaw.
Yeah, but he broke it in round 3, and he was still fighting till round 5.
He did fight with a broken jaw.
I
God
considered it
damn.
a bit of an early stoppage. It looked like he could have maybe gotten him. He was still kind of fighting. He wasn't like out. And as soon as he stopped the fight, you saw he popped right back up. That's
Oh, you going with the Dominic Cruz defense?
Yeah.
Hey, I took 11 unanswered blows, but I got up, so it shouldn't have been a stoppage.
well, in my opinion, it looked like it could have went just a couple more, especially as a title fight. It's like you got to let him fight.
Yeah,
can't
you never
stop
know
him
what will
till-
happen.
So,
huh?
so I guess I'm just wondering, right? Because you said Masvidal, is that his
Yeah.
name? He moved up a bunch of different weight classes.
He moved up from 150 or 155, excuse me.
Yeah.
But he's fought. I don't think he's fought at 145. I don't think so.
I doubt it.
So
If he's-
so what I'm asking is, you say you had 6 days prior, right? How different is training via different weight classes, or is it the same?
I don't think it is different, right? You
No,
just
it's
try to
much
cut weight.
different. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was DC. DC as in Daniel Cormier. Someone said that in wrestling, when you're wrestling someone and it's only for like, what is it? How long is wrestling? Like two or three 2-minute rounds. It's a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Having that weight advantage is
It means a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
Huge.
But when you're fighting in the UFC, you've got either 25 minutes or 15 minutes of fight, and the amount of like stress and like a lot of people are saying the reason why what's his name? Tony Ferguson lost his fight in a horrible manner was because the dude cut weight for a fight that never happened. He made it down to the 155, and they're saying that weight cut just took it out of him. So you have to balance the advantage of being a heavier guy as opposed to how much it's going to take away from you.
Yeah.
So if you have a massive weight cut like Rumble Johnson used to have, man.
He used to cut to. So this is a heavyweight. Well, he wants to fight at heavyweight, a light heavyweight. So 205. So it means he cuts weight to 205.
Yeah.
So he's probably walking around like 2 230-ish, something like that.
The fuck?
He used to fight at 170. Same weight class I fight.
Wait.
So I'm like, wow.
Wait,
That's
he walks around 230, normally fights at 205, cut down to 170?
He originally cut down to 170, but he missed weight a ton.
Okay.
So, yeah, you should show him pictures of him at light heavyweight.
But God, that's 60 pounds, dude.
Yeah. So what I'm showing on the screen is a progression of Anthony Rumble Johnson. I hate Google's new search feature because it just looks like trash. But yeah, so this dude at 230 is the same dude who's fighting at 170.
Yeah, right.
You can see it in the
That's
face, dude.
crazy.
That's insane.
He was a skeleton at 170. I don't know how he did it. I mean, he missed weight a lot, but... Or not, maybe he didn't. Did he miss weight?
He missed weight at 170.
I think those first two literally said that he missed the weight for 170 and 185.
Okay.
Yeah, sunken face is a big sign that someone's really dehydrated.
Yeah.
Which is why the UFC now has new hydration rules that I don't understand.
They do?
What is it?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, they have new hydration. Well, they test how hydrated. Like, there's a certain ratio of hydration you need to keep in your body to stop. There was one fighter who died because of his weight cut.
Oh, wow.
And ever since then, there's been a rule where they, like, instead of forcing you to drop all your weight like a day prior to the fight, it's a progression. And if you're not at a certain ratio by a certain time period before the fight, they won't let you.
So, yeah, I'm curious. When do they weigh you?
The day before the fight.
Okay. So then the day of the fight, you can put on all that weight.
Correct.
Minutes after the fight, these guys are rehydrating and getting back up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I used to
down
wrestle.
some cheeseburgers in the span of like a day, right?
Probably not cheeseburgers, but
Yeah.
I mean, what did you do?
Oh, dude,
How bad was your weight cut? Let's start
KFC
with that.
fried
What
chicken
do you walk around at?
So I'm about 215 right now, so which is chunky COVID weight.
What's your normal?
Like around 205-ish,
Okay.
something like that. And I fought at 170 both times. My first weight cut was a little rough. Weight cuts are always rough. I mean, people say they're easy, but the way to correctly weight cut is you basically, you need to be in shape. You need to be in shape. You need to be watching your diet every day. You start by day one, week before, you drinking a gallon of water a day. Then the next day you drink a little bit less than the gallon. Then the next day you drink half. Next day you drink less. And you don't get any more water as the day progresses. And in theory, a gallon is about 10 pounds. By the 7th day, you should be about 10 pounds less of water.
Oh,
Wow.
Right.
interesting.
Anything that, let's say you're still low on, that's when you jump into the sauna, sweat it out, jump in, I don't know, go on a bike, do whatever you need to make weight. And sometimes it's brutal. I mean, I've seen guys at my gym who are heavyweights who the day before he asked me, he's like, "Hey Raf, how many calories are in a pound?" I'm like, I don't know, about 3,300. He's like, "Oh." And then he walked away and just walked on the treadmill. Because the next day he was like, "Okay, I still got I think he told me the calories. He's like 33,000 to go." I'm like, "You got 10 pounds to go?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
God.
God bless you, sir. God bless you. Good luck with that.
Crazy.
So let me ask you this. This may just be a high school thing, but I remember that the wrestlers in high school, during classes, they would all walk around with a bottle that they would just keep spitting
Yeah,
into.
that works.
Do you
Yep.
guys do that? Or do you substitute that with, like, since you're not in a class, you can, like, work on a treadmill and sauna it during the day?
You could do it. I just it's very uncomfortable. It's some people, like, if you're close to your weight, you don't need to cut more. It's not necessary. It's just, it all depends. Everybody's body's very different. So some people have a really rough time cutting weight, and the day before, like, they'll be like just dying. They'll have no energy, nothing, and then as soon as they step on the scale, they rehydrate. They're like, I'm perfect. And then there's some guys who, they can lose, like Jorge, 20 pounds in 6 days and be totally fine. It's all really depending on your body, your biological structure. It's no cookie cutter method. Your best bet is just to be in shape. It's always just to be in shape, and don't fight at a weight class that's, that's too low, because it will take it'll take it out on you.
How important is the significance of diet to working out?
Super important. I think diet if anybody tells you otherwise, this is one of the things I can pretty confidently say is diet is the most important thing to being in a good shape. You can work out hours and hours a day, but if your diet is bad, it won't matter, right?
Yeah.
You
Check
can work
and mate, Chris.
So for
Just-
background,
just for comparison. Let's take a Big Mac. Not a Big Mac. Let's go Whopper, even crazier.
Yeah.
Whopper is about like 1,100 calories.
Keep going. I'm getting a raging hard on from this because you're proving Chris wrong.
1,100 calories, okay? How many Whoppers, if somebody pointed a gun to your head, how many Whoppers do you think you could eat in a day?
8. Oh, in a day? I thought you were talking one sitting.
God damn.
You cannot eat 8 Whoppers in a sitting. I guarantee.
If I had Whoppers in front of me, I kid you not, I could eat 5,
Alright, next-
no problem.
I could do 3
Next podcast,
at
you guys heard.
I literally,
can't watch.
if you go in my
We're
fridge,
gonna-
right,
we're
in
gonna
my
do it.
garbage can right now, I went to McDonald's last night with my girlfriend. I ate 3 McDoubles, 2 McChickens.
Yeah, but that's on the size of a Whopper. A
Yeah,
Whopper's
that's
way
different than a
bigger.
Whopper.
Are we talking a 3-patty Whopper? Or are we
Yeah,
talking a
yeah.
single?
No, the big Whopper.
Oh, we're talking about
The
3-patty.
Whopper King, I think it's the King.
Yeah.
God, maybe 3
the Whopper
in a
matriarch.
sitting. In a sitting.
Okay.
I could do 3. I'm
Throughout
like,
a day?
I think
Three's
I
like-
cap
three's-
out at 2.
3's like me, like undoing my belt.
Right, but in a sitting. But what about a day?
God.
I think the period of a day I could probably do 10.
Like you hate
Yeah,
yourself by like the
I
time
think
you're
10.
done.
Yeah, I think 10 in a day.
I'm going to throw this out here. This is one of my most embarrassing things because I made a bet with someone that I could eat 24 heads of cabbage in 24 hours,
Holy
Oh God.
which was wrong.
There's a lot of water in cabbage, isn't there?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And I ate about half of one and then spent the rest of the night vomiting. And that guy then had to hold and
Did you-
basically carry around 23
Did
heads
you-
of lettuce.
Yeah, so I was asking, like, where did you awkwardly go buy 23 heads of lettuce?
I didn't buy nothing. This was one day just like my friends were like, tomorrow you're eating your lettuce. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah. You're not going to be talking shit telling us you can eat 23 heads of lettuce and then,
They sounded very confident in that.
Have you ever done the cinnamon challenge?
Oh God.
No. I know what it is. I'm not going to do it.
We did it once when we were younger.
We did.
And it's
It's dumb.
God, it's awful.
Yeah, it's very
Oh
dumb.
my God, it's like your mouth literally like all the moisture feels like it's sucked out, and you're literally coughing up a storm. It's like you're inhaling sand.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I will say this before we move on. He was so I have said in the past that I will work out in order to balance out what I eat in my shitty diet, and I feel like that works for the most part. But I don't know. You seem to be an expert on this. Do you think
I'm
that
not-
works?
I'm not an expert at anything, but at my non-expert opinion, I think it'll catch up to you, and you will end up. A lot of people think that way is that they're like, oh, I can work out a little bit and I'll be fine. I could eat shit. It catches up to you, and
Well-
it won't catch up to you now.
Yeah.
But it might catch up to you in
Condoms on
2
the other
3
dick
years,
now,
5
isn't
years,
it?
10
Yeah.
years.
Well,
In 10
shit.
years, you'll be like probably noticeably more overweight.
Yeah, let's go get a beer. You just made my night.
To the mic
Sorry,
and like just like into the center of it.
my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real-
Well, shit.
I love you right now. Let's go get a beer.
You
I mean,
eat like
told you
shit
so.
too. Don't
We're
look at me like
drinking
that.
beers.
I mean, you're right. You know what? You're right. I would tell you that beer does definitely not help my diet because I'm pretty sure it's like liquid bread at that point. But here's the thing about that, right? God, I fucking love beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pre-COVID, we were going to the gym about 3-4 times a week, right?
Not too.
Yeah. So
3 to 4, 2.
I don't know. I don't think it was 2. It was like 3.
3 on a good week.
All right, I'm gonna rapid fire through these real quick. Paige Vanzant, I think she's gonna leave the UFC as a winner, 3rd round decision.
Hell yeah, go Paige Vanzant.
Wild man.
Wait. You think she's gonna win and then just be like, I'm out?
It's a rumor that she's gonna leave the UFC because her boyfriend fights in Bellator. So it's a rumor that she's gonna be leaving
WWE
Bellator.
Diva Champion.
Because is her contract up after this fight?
It is.
Yeah. So
Okay, so see ya.
there's a good chance she's gonna be leaving. Rose the Thug Namajunas, I think, is gonna win. I think you're right. 3rd round
Wait.
decision.
Her nickname was The Thug, and you didn't tell us that?
Thug Rose.
Thug Rose. Just so you know, this girl is gorgeous.
I feel like
She
you left out
shaved
information.
her head just to be completely distraction free in a fight. If you ever want to watch a really good fight, watch the build up to the Joanna Jędrzejczyk. How do you say it in Polish?
Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah, versus Rose Namajunas. Great fight, great build-up. I think Volkanovski is going to win. 5th round decision. I don't think Max Holloway's tactic of tiring out his opponent is going to work because it didn't work in the first fight. And as boring as Kamaru Usman is, I think he's going to win in a 2nd round TKO.
Yeah.
TKO.
I picked that dude.
TKO.
You're a wild man. If I were you, if you truly believe your pick, I put all my money on Paige
hell no.
Vanzant. She's a minus 800. Or I'm sorry, the Rebus is a minus 800 favorite.
Oh God.
Okay, so that means if you have to bet $800 on Amanda to win $100. That is how big of a favorite it is. So if you truly believe that, go bet $200 on Paige Vanzant and walk away with almost $1,200. Go ahead.
I mean, I'd like to think that that'd be the fairy tale ending for her. On the topic of really bad bets, for the last UFC 250, there was a record set.
Yeah.
You know what that record was? The highest bet placed on a single fight.
Oh no.
Amanda Nunes was a what? Plus or a minus
Huge
God
favorite.
knows what.
Huge favorite.
This dude put $1 million on the line for that fight, only to win $120,000
Why?
because she was such a favorite.
But why would you do that in the first
Because
place?
it was a guaranteed win.
I mean, so yeah, I guess.
Oh, wait,
it's a
to win.
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
it sounds like it's not that much money, right? But it's like a guaranteed extra 120.
Well, but you're putting up $1 million.
You are, but if it's guaranteed, I mean that's like
Well, nothing's guaranteed in the UFC.
nothing's guaranteed. I guess you're right.
Yeah, in my pea brain, I was like, you put in $1 million and only got $100K back. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Do you have any more fights?
No, that's it for the main card for 251.
I don't watch much. My family does watch boxing,
Ugh.
right? And I remember vividly when I was younger, there was this fight between this Polish dude and Mike Tyson, right? And the whole family's coming over. They're having a beer, right? Everyone's having a good time making food, right? And the fight starts. I remember, sitting on the couch playing on my fucking Nintendo 3DS, and all of a sudden, within like, that is really awkward.
That was loud as fuck.
I remember all of a sudden, all the people are like, "Oh, kurva, what the fuck? Bullshit," right? I'm like, what the fuck happened? And the Polish guy got knocked out within like the first round.
Tyson.
Yeah, Iron Mike Tyson, if you watch his fights in the 80s, he was the worst and the best fighter to watch because if you'd paid to go and see him, typically boxing's a 12 rounds?
I don't know.
I think it's
dick
12
about
rounds.
boxing.
Mike Tyson had I don't know if MO is the correct word to put it, but he had a reputation of knocking people out within the first round. So again, if you went and paid good money to go sit there and watch a fight, you were horribly disappointed because it was over before it started. But yeah, Mike Tyson. And the craziest thing about Mike Tyson, undersized. I think he's 5'9", 5'10", fighting in the heavyweight division where people are north of 6 foot.
Yep.
Guy was a monster. Had he not gone to jail, I think he's easily the best heavyweight in the world.
Did he go to jail for biting someone's ear off?
No, that was a fight with Evander Holyfield. He bit his ear off.
Good fight.
He actually makes jokes of it. I just recently started watching
Yeah.
the Mike Tyson mysteries.
Yeah.
And someone, I don't know what the joke was, but it was like a Mike bite. And he's like, oh yeah, ask Evander about that. He's got a good history of Mike bites.
Evander's funny with it too.
Is he?
And there's some commercial or something where he Tyson he knocks on the door, and then Holyfield answers. He just goes and he just hands him a gift. It's his ear, and he's like, oh, and he's like, come on, come here, and then they hug. It's a riot.
Come here, brother.
So I actually do have a MMA related question here. What do you think about CM Punk and people like
that guy was the WWE.
Kimbo Slice coming into the MMA? Do you think it's trashy? Do you think they actually?
There's another guy too.
Brock
Brock
Lesnar.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
Two different spectrums.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's start on the spectrum. So Brock Lesnar was a state champion wrestler. He had a huge pedigree in wrestling,
Yeah.
actual wrestling, not kind of like WWE show wrestling.
Yep.
So he was already like he had a pedigree basically. He's already going into it. He's got a good thing going.
Yeah.
CM Punk was not a state champion wrestler, right? Not only that, he was on the older side.
Yeah. He was.
I'm not
how old is
laughing
he?
at him. He was
He was like late 40s, right?
I'll pull it up in a
Or
second.
early
Just
40s,
keep
something like
talking.
that.
He did not look that old. I thought. I don't fucking know.
he was never like a prime athlete. He was more of like he's more of an actor, right? So it's just very different. It's very different. I don't want to take away any credit from him because it takes a lot to go in the cage, basically risk your life and fight. But he should have never been in there. He should have never been in there. That's just the best way to put it. And if he was going to be in there, he should have been in there with someone kind of like him, where it was more of like a Mark Wahlberg versus fucking
Mark
Just to
Wahlberg.
interject, CM Punk made his UFC debut at 38 years old.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's fair. That's old.
Yeah, that
That's
does seem old.
What's the usual retirement age?
Henry Cejudo retired at 33.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends. I mean,
Unless you're Chuck Liddell, who retired at like 40 something.
yeah. On the wall, if you're a heavyweights fight till they're
Dead.
Yeah, they're like dead. they're already half foot in the grave.
So
But
usually like early 30s.
Mid to late 30s
Okay.
is the retiring period, I'd like to say. I mean, in the UFC, people aren't hitting their prime until their late 20s.
correct, yeah, like
For the most part.
at early 30s.
Yeah.
That's when you start hitting your prime.
And then, I'm really curious about like what you think about Kimbo Slice.
Well, Kimbo Slice, oh man, legend, R.I.P. But
Yeah.
he was again he was a fighter, right? So he knew how to fight.
Yep.
He didn't come into this sport like from nothing. He had a background. He was a street brawler, and funny enough, Jorge Masvidal, the guy that's mainlining that fight, he used to be in Kimbo's fight videos.
I didn't actually
He
know
was
that.
in one of the first ones, or like one of the early ones. You can see him and like Kimbo in the background and him fighting in those backyard brawls.
Yeah.
So, technically, they're from the same,
Breed.
same
Yeah.
same breed.
Same branch.
Yeah. So I guess that does that kind of answer how I feel. I feel like anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible, but you have to start somewhere, and you have to determine where your skill set is before you just jump to the big guns. Because the UFC, that's the top of the top. When you're fighting in the UFC, you're actually fighting the best.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Which is why, if you look at most UFC fighters, in boxing, what's his name? Floyd Mayweather, considered one of the greatest boxers alive. I don't
Yeah.
agree with that, but it's because he's got an unbeaten record. In
Is he
boxing,
still unbeaten?
well, he retired. In boxing, if you don't have an unbeaten record, you're pretty much trash. In the UFC, however, because you guys are fighting the creme de la creme, people like Jorge Masvidal has a horrible record. He's like 30-something and 13. Typically, that's a bad record, but when you're fighting the best of the best, it's to be expected.
So even if you're to be positive in your wins versus losses,
That's still good. That's
always,
really good.
Is that always good?
Yeah, for the most part.
So if you were like 30 and 29,
Then you'd be like,
It'd be hard to be in the UFC usually, just because unless you're on like your last 15 wins were within the
but I don't get it though. Like what what I'm saying is if you get a certain amount of losses, are you like out?
no.
if they don't want to renew your contract because you're a boring fighter, yeah, that happens. Or you're a bad negotiator.
So
that
when you say
happens.
boring fighter, does that mean how you like people don't like watching you fight versus?
Yes.
See, but like it's real freaking fighting, right? Like what like we're not acting over here.
I guess if you just keep shooting for doubles and then get a knee in the face, it's going to get pretty boring.
Getting kneed in the face is really enjoyable, but when you get, when you're sitting on the ground wrestling for the entire time, it's really boring. One person who came out and said that is Justin Gaethje, the guy who rearranged Tony Ferguson's face. He is a wrestler. That's his background.
Yeah.
When he got into mixed martial arts, he said, I don't want to do that. It's boring. And he doesn't wrestle.
I'm gonna take a stand on here. I don't think any of it's boring, but because
you
I
enjoy
understand.
it. Yes.
I understand the technicality of it.
But for a casual fan.
But if you're a casual fan and you
like
don't get it, you don't know what you're looking at,
Yeah.
it might be like, well, they're just two sweaty dudes, hugging each other, and that's totally fair. A lot of times it looks like that,
Yeah.
and I can't argue it. It does sometimes, but if you know you just put a little bit of like research into what's going on, why they're doing the things, it
Yeah.
makes it a lot more entertaining, in my opinion.
I get all my like information from watching like martial arts anime.
Stop.
Because when they do like a tournament arc, right, they always have like the sideline characters that like
Describe the moves.
They describe the moves like, oh, he could have done this. Okay.
Just to go back to two sweaty dudes, just a little fun fact. Kimbo Slice is the only UFC fighter to kill another person during a fight.
Wow.
Oh.
If you want to watch the worst fight in the history of MMA, you can gladly tell me if it's not. Kimbo Slice versus Dada 3000.
Dada's not dead.
In that fight, Dada, they both got extremely exhausted.
Yeah.
In that fight, Dada was exhausted to the point where he had a heart attack, was dead, and was brought back to life
my
in the
God.
hospital.
So
he technically did die.
So what you're
Okay.
telling me, right, is the Undertaker's a fake.
Goddamn.
We've went full circle.
Yes.
Now we know.
Well, yeah, we're
Undertaker.
back to wrestling. Last person, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's a monster, and he took stuff.
Wait, was he good in the UFC?
Yeah, he was a champion.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was a heavyweight champion. Granted, he was fighting, almost 20 pounds over everyone else?
Slightly handpicked, you could say.
Because that guy's like
Jacked.
He can't put his arms
Yeah.
down.
So Lesnar was, like I was saying, he took some
performance-enhancing supplements.
some protein, the good protein that you're not allowed to take.
Yeah.
And so that definitely might have helped him, but the years and years of wrestling, I think, is...
Yes,
Did he retire already?
He did.
He
Well,
did.
he went back to the... He's basically been jumping between the UFC and WWE. He basically just wants one fight, make a bunch of money, go back to the WWE. But you want to talk on the way Brock Lesnar got around USADA?
What is USADA?
USADA is the testing, so basically the anti-doping kind of federation of
Steroids.
just the UFC.
Banhammer thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't.
Do you want me to bring it up?
Yeah, you can. I don't remember.
So here's what
this.
happened.
Like,
There's-
I know, I remember.
For
I don't know how
fighter to
explain it.
fight, he has to spend 6 months in the USADA testing pool. And what that means is
Wow.
any point in that 6-month period, they can be randomly drug test. You have to pass that test. Once you get past that basically 6-month probationary period, you can fight in the UFC.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar did not do that. He fought on much shorter notice, and the explanation behind it was the most BS thing I've ever heard. They said because he was retired at the time, he didn't need to qualify under that 6-month period. So most likely Brock Lesnar was
Doping.
not just doping. I mean, he was almost
Juice to the
TRT
gills.
levels. Yeah, he was almost Vitor Belfort levels of TRT.
What's
is,
TRT?
Gorilla Man.
testosterone replacement therapy. That was the legal steroids for a while until USADA got around.
Could you plug me in? Could you plug me in?
Are you not in?
I think I got unplugged.
Can you hear yourself?
Testing.
No, you're in.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
can't hear
for the ear.
myself. No, I can hear myself.
Oh. Watch, they died.
Yeah, Dino
Okay.
spent
Oh.
some money on some really shitty ass Bose headphones, so don't be discouraged.
So I guess my next question then, are you done with the TRT?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up with that question. Go ahead.
So what background do you think helps the most in MMA? Because there are several.
Wrestling, I think, is the most important. Honestly, I really do believe it.
Over BJJ?
I think you need both. You need all of it.
No,
at the
you
end
have to
of the
pick
day.
one as the
Oh,
base.
the
That's
base?
your foundation.
Wrestling.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
wrestling.
what will get you the farthest? Wrestling.
Wrestling. Yeah, you could be a wrestler with.
So really good moves of I don't know. I'm
Yes, The Undertaker.
grab. No. like Kurt Angle, right?
Olympic wrestling
Learning how to
champion.
grapple and all that stuff makes a huge difference in the UFC.
I think you could practice striking your whole life, and you'll get taken down once, and you'll be like, "Where am I? What world is this?" Because it's such a very different experience of being ragdolled by someone a lot of times smaller than you, a lot of times, but it's different. It's very different, and the feeling of a lot of these, especially like karate and taekwondo and stuff, they don't have any kind of ground fighting ability. So as soon as they get taken down, they're helpless, completely. helpless.
I never thought about that. You're right. What if you get taken down? Right? I mean, they can get back up, or if someone keeps you down.
Yeah.
And then that's the big thing in jiu-jitsu that it teaches is that I think their statistic is like 80% of all fights end up on the ground. Okay,
Yeah.
you might start swinging, you get close enough, sooner or later somebody's ending up on the ground.
Of course.
So you either have to figure out how to be the one in control, or when you're in the worst position on the ground, either figure out how to reverse it or take that position and make it to your benefit.
Yeah, or like if you fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov, you're going to
Just
spend
die.
100% of the time on the ground.
Basically die.
Yeah, anime lied to me.
Yeah. So on that fun note, it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Gonna wrap things up. Thank you to everyone who's watching. The video podcast right now is not running because the camera has apparently gotten too hot, so I apologize. No one just saw the wave or the peace sign. It apparently overheated and has stopped recording.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
So-
Such a great feature implemented by Sony.
That's such.
So thank you guys for listening on this week's episode of the podcast. Look forward to seeing you at our next AA meeting.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
I honestly didn't even realize that much time had passed.
Yeah.